Good morning. I hope you had a great weekend. I dove into the data a little bit, and we're really seeing that numbers and operations and algebraic thinking is where things kind of are still a bit lower than we'd like to see. Measurement and data and geometry seem to be pretty on par, and I'm seeing the same thing in Dreambox. It appears that really when it comes to standards that he's struggling with, it's things like operations and algebraic thinking, represent and solve problems. These are the ones where in the first and second grade standards, he's got a few gaps in first, and then he's got definitely a few gaps in second, which makes sense too because he's not done with second grade, but at the same time, I can see this is the strand that he's really struggling with. So I have a couple ideas. First of all, I did bop in reviews, and I actually just bopped them in for everybody within Schoology. And so for every subject, before he takes an assessment, there's a set of review pages where he can practice the activities without having to do the discussion-based assignment. So it isn't anything that he needs to submit or turn in. But I think reviewing those concepts, especially for math, should be helpful for some extra practice before he takes the assessment. The next thing that I did was in Dreambox, instead of doing like a short-term assignment where they have 1 or 2 lessons on the topic, I changed Nino's assignments to long-term, which means until he shows mastery on a standard, it's going to continue to bring up different games and activities that will focus on that. And so that should be some added practice. So we've got that here for operations and algebraic thinking. He also had some first grade gaps around measuring, so I added that just to break it up a little bit so he's not always doing the same thing over and over again. But you're going to want to look and see on Dreambox, rather than letting him jump right into the games and activities that he'd like to pick, go ahead and have him start with the assignments that I've given him. And so he can pick within that, but we're hoping for like almost intervention, that he's got a targeted area from the prior grade level, first grade, that he's going to work long-term towards showing mastery in. So within iReady, there is a report that has some like activities that he and I could do on those Tuesdays and Thursdays if he can bop in from 9:45 to 10, maybe until the holiday break, and we reassess and iReady and see how he is doing at that point with some extra practice. And then I had sent a couple weeks back a link for Khan Academy that's going to have very similar activities to this, but it's pretty engaging. Kids seem to like Khan Academy. I feel like for him, he just needs extra practice right now with adding and subtracting, and that extra math for fact fluency. Those are the gaps that I'm seeing across the data. So having him do extra math 10 minutes a day, in fact, I think it shuts them down after a certain point. They work all the way through the lesson, and extra math says we're done for today. So if he was doing that 4 days a week, doing the Dreambox lessons that are targeted for him from me, and then if we were meeting a couple times a week and I was reinforcing, and then whenever you feel like he gets through a lesson really quickly and wants to bop into those Khan Academy lessons, that would be helpful too. The last thing I was thinking was this, like, this type of report goes into, like, let's say we were doing, we're solving a subtraction word problem and we've got a strategy that we're providing. At this point, I think for Nino, it would be best to zoom in on one strategy that works really well for him, and trying that where if he does all the odd problems, maybe for a problem with the strategy that they're trying to show him, but then goes back for all the even problems to do the one that he's the most comfortable with. I think bopping around too much is going to provide confusion. And so while I think it's good for him to learn a new strategy to reinforce the conceptualization of what's happening, really having him find one specific strategy that he does this like over and over and over again with all of these activities with me, then yes, we're broadening his understanding, but we're also reinforcing one specific strategy repeatedly for that kind of brain muscle memory, creating that pathway. So that's my initial thoughts, and I wanted to just record a quick video because I thought that might be easier than typing everything out. But like I said, I'd love to start to see him at those lab hours twice a week, and then I'll resend that Khan link, focus on Dreambox assigned lessons, and there are even some really great benefits right now for him using that extra math every day.